Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Well, welcome again back here at the Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host, and I've got with me again today, same two guys I had last week, John Leuenberger and John Sweeney. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
That was quite a show yesterday. We talked about the president is sitting in his seat now. He's sitting in the seat.
He is.
Folks are basically, boy, there's a long line, that's my understanding, down at the White House. And people are excited about what's going on. You got my point?
Yeah.
And I guess all kinds of activities. So anyway, we're gonna probably get a little update on the next show. We'll probably do. We'll get a little update on where he's at, like the first day in office.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
But right now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk about something that's already been at the table, and trying to figure out how can we pay for it. We got a new form of government here in the city of Portland, the largest city in the state of Oregon. Okay, got me? It is the living room. It is the rec room. It's the whole 9 yards. And we've got some major issues here, still here on the table. And people are looking for change. And people got together and said, okay, fine. Mayor Wheeler put together a committee of folks. And as a result of the vote of the city council with the mayor's encouragement, we come up with this new form of government, okay, where we've districtized the city of Portland for a change. I think that was a good idea. We districtized it because the bottom line is that at least you identify with areas in respective areas. If you're just going to basically like keep it in the city, then it's just a downtown situation, and you get nothing for the citizens within the city of Portland. And that's just my view aspect of it. And then they basically said, okay, fine, we're going to now come up with 3 commissioners per district. Well, if they had just basically stayed with 1 commissioner, as far as I'm concerned, it'd been cool. But the responsible parties, supposedly, basically said, no, we need 3 commissioners per district. 3 commissioners per district. And then when you start talking about salaries, you're talking about salaries for these individuals. Even at the city council, they were making under that, less than $100,000 a year. But the new commissioners, I'd say 150 with the perks, each $150,000 each, if you will. Okay, fine. And and I don't know if there was some term limits in the situation or whatever. There's no term limits and whatever. So if they use the same process that they did to get up there without addressing any issues, without identifying with any issues, we got problems. So that means we're now stuck with this. I mean, we're stuck with this. The mayor, Wheeler, is gone. So the person who can basically
Ted Wheeler is gone. Thank God.
Can basically if Wheeler was in a position that he could say no, he could turn it down. But now we got a new form of government, and the mayor doesn't have that whole situation. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you've been looking at the newspapers of early, like the Oregonian. That was last week, but anyway, there are articles. You can always Google.
On the 17th, yeah, there was a
big article on the 17th there.
Yep.
But my point is that we got a form of government. We got to live with it. So what we got to do, we got to do checks and balances, right? Because we're paying the bill. The taxpayers are paying the bill, okay? And every time something happens on that end with employees, you got to pick up the tab. That's the name of the game. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be discussing this, and hopefully you'll get involved and pay a little bit more attention about this new form of government, because this is the first time out, and so we need to know. And so if we want to repeal it or make any changes and whatever, we're going to have to do it on election day.
The city of Portland is setting the stage for the rest of the country with not only this new form of government, but the ranked choice voting aspect.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting.
We were the first ones to implement ranked choice voting in the nation. So we'll have to see how people like it.
Well, the state already turned it down.
Right. So, right. That's what I'm saying. The city of Portland.
It's the city of Portland.
elected to have this ranked choice voting effort. And I think we mentioned a few weeks back that it disproportionately affected minorities because they didn't understand or they didn't hear about ranked choice voting. So when they first got their ballots, it was brand new to them. They didn't understand it because it was implemented during COVID, and lots of things were implemented.
You know
during
what?
COVID.
I will say, John, though, but the definition of minority today is a whole different ballgame. They ain't black
Right.
anymore. They're white, green, orange, and yellow.
It's not just one group. It's multiple groups.
Just the whole group.
But that they didn't hear about it or didn't see it until the election.
Yeah.
And so we have that aspect in the city of Portland. The state populace all voted against it, which I think is for the best. I don't think that system works as it was instituted.
Right.
We'll see as time goes on. I think it's a nice effort to make people more readily available or readily choosable, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They didn't explain it well enough.
Right.
So
And who just say they, like you said, they didn't get the information, right?
the minority population.
Right, the minority population. So who is the responsible employee?
Well, the city of Portland was supposed to. The city of Portland was supposed to educate people on this new system.
Wasn't that the mayor's job? Wasn't that Wheeler's job? I mean, he was chair of the board, right? And he basically will select what they will do and what they're not doing, and then throw it out to the city council and get his other 2 votes, right? Isn't that the way it's done?
And I was running for the city council in District 3 and spent a lot of my time explaining this thing and the fact that they had it in Alaska, and for the first time they elected a Democrat to the House of Representatives, and they're out to change that. And then some of the places that voted it in is voting it out before it gets used.
Yep.
And now we've got it here. And the state issue that the legislature put for the state, it was for the governor and all that. They exempted themselves. The legislature, they were going to stay on the old system, see, but the rest of them, the governor and all those,
the president, all of them,
all of that. Now the thing is, the existing system, the prior system, it was sometimes hard to get rid of a bad incumbent, but the deal is this thing is now, I think it'll be hard to keep a good incumbent. So, and one of the things, the first time I ran for office in 1968, I ran for mayor of Portland. The filing deadline was Tuesday. Terry Shrunkus signed up and all this, so I signed up on Monday. Right. Well, guess what? My filing deadline on Tuesday, there was 2 more people. So you have an incumbent that's got some bucks, and you sign up early. The deal is, he's going to get a whole bunch of friends in there, and they're going to stretch it out, so you're not going to make it. So what you hope to do is sign up at the last minute and then be able to ace him out. But the thing is...
well, that doesn't work either, John.
Huh?
That last minute don't work. Because I signed the last minute. And they threw me under the bus. They said, we cannot afford to have Bruce Broussard in this city, on the city council.
Well, I get some of that too, because
they've been looking at the Voters Digest here. But anyway, we can talk about that a little bit. That's but it's not forgotten though. It's part of the issue.
And the thing to emphasize, and this is real important right now, is that the mayor in District 1 and 2 was a 4-year office,
right? And
the auditor in 3 and 4 is 2 years. So the auditor in 3 and 4 will be up again in 26.
Mm-hmm.
And the deal is, the Multnomah County is going to go to it in 26. So it's going to be really a circle jerk.
What do you mean the Multnomah County going to go to what?
Multnomah County is going to go to ranked choice voting.
Ranked choice voting?
Yeah, in 26.
And people still don't know what that means.
Here's a great question. Maybe you know the answer, maybe you don't. how do we choose who is number one on that giant list?
And who's doing it?
And who's making the list? Who's putting it at the top? Who's making those decisions?
How does that happen, John?
Well, one of the things is telling people, and they're asking about, and I says, now, and you're choosing 6 people out of this thing.
Right.
And I says, if there's somebody you don't want, don't put them number 6. The deal is you don't mark them at all.
Right.
And in fact, they've had people that were originally about 3 or 4, and through the ranked choice and the shuffling around, shuffling the confetti, and next thing you know, you'd be surprised on what you get.
No. What I'm saying is, so you got the list of all the people that are running, right?
Yeah.
Who chooses who's at that top of the list, and who chooses it all the way down?
Well,
who's making those choices?
Well, it's supposed to be random by the precincts.
Okay.
So, because there's some people that ran for office, they threw their name on there, and their name was Adams. And the deal is, people coming in, they just marked the first one, so they have it stirred up. So, if you're in one part of the town and my name would be first, and another part of town, and my name might be
so
10th.
every ballot's different.
Yeah, by
supposed
precinct.
to be different.
Supposed to be different. Yeah.
Okay.
So however they do that, I don't know. But anyway, when you have it come in, it's by the district, and so the thing is, it's different, and so the computer's supposed to take care of that. Now, one of the troubles with our election system, they allow people to look into the computer, say what's there, and they should not be able to do that.
Okay.
They should be able to say that the counties make a report to the state, and then the state makes an announcement to the people. And if somebody wants the answer, they call either the state or the county, but they do not get into the computer.
Right.
Because but
what department runs this whole piece? I'm going to follow up on what John was saying.
In
Is that elections?
Yeah, they have elections division
In the city?
in Multnomah County.
Okay, Multnomah County. But does Portland have its own elections division?
Okay.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. The auditor is also the elections official, even though the county runs the election.
Okay.
Okay. The auditor is.
The auditor, yes.
So elections for the city is under the auditors.
Correct. And you go signing up for office, you sign up at the auditor's office.
No, but actually, but they say elections when you go down to city
It's
council.
going to be that
So
next
it's the
year.
auditors,
It's
okay.
been that way since 1913
Okay, all right.
when they had
so
the old
we
system.
need to get the auditor to come on and share with the public what that process is.
I would love to
That is
know,
some
because
questions.
it would be great to know, well, is it actually shuffled like you're saying it's supposed to be shuffled? Or is it they're just it's a random choice and everyone has the same chance, or like everyone has the same ballot and it's all listed the same? I would venture to guess that it probably is, unless we all had our ballots, but the ballots are now gone, so we can't compare ballots. But I would like to know how they make that decision, who's making that decision, and how they're weighting the top versus the bottom.
Yeah.
Now, how they shuffle it, I don't know. But there's a system that from different precincts. In your precinct, you'd get a different ballot than I get in my precinct, and different in Bruce.
Okay, so it's based on precincts and not based on individuals. They don't do it at complete
Within the
random.
boundaries, within the boundaries of the district.
Okay.
No, they
Right?
They do it by the precinct.
Okay.
Because if you try to do it by individuals, it'd be hard to count it. But the deal is, when your ballot goes in, it says on the top your precinct, and then the deal is it goes and has that format to go through. And then,
okay.
So
that
then
makes
the
sense.
same with mine. It goes through. You're running your ballot through, and it says, okay, precinct 4204, which is mine, and it goes through there, and it runs through and it counts all the issues and all the ballots on the counting by that precinct.
That makes sense. That makes more sense. Okay.
And in fact, maybe the deal is if he actually counted the votes in the precinct, and they give a report to the county, and then the county would report to the state.
Okay.
But let's get right just from a layman's standpoint, just keeping it very, very simple aspect of it. Like you said, your name goes into the precinct aspect of it.
Yeah.
It tells who you voted for, right?
Yeah.
By numbers, right?
By I vote on mine and
Now
through
you
my
got a district and you got all these other people doing the same thing, from precinct to precinct to precinct, right?
yeah.
Who basically says, okay, fine, you may have 5 votes, I mean, depending upon what you're doing. Your name is there, 5. You're there 5 votes, and then another. So what happens? So now you got 5. John has maybe 3.
Well, I know one thing that the deal is. I survived 12 pass-throughs before I got weeded out.
So and see, I wasn't a part of this ranked choice voting aspect because I wasn't in the city of Portland.
Confusing. I don't understand. I'm trying to figure out how do you do this?
Well, and apparently, Mayor Wilson was elected because he wasn't number 1 for everybody. He was like 3 or 4. He was one of the last choices for a lot of people, and it just kept pushing him up and up and up to the point where he won. Yeah. He wasn't the first choice.
He was the last choice.
Yeah. I don't think I voted for him. And the deal is, my first choice was the stripper song. And people says, "What?" I says, "Well, Bud Clark was the mayor for 2 terms. If he'd been the mayor for 3 terms, we'd have been better off." But the deal is, but sometimes as you start out and you look at the first pass through, and nobody gets the 50% plus 1 for mayor and 25% plus 1 for the
council.
For the council, and then the thing is, you're looking at somebody's down there halfway down the list. The next thing you know, when they start shuffling around, somebody's it's halfway down the staircase is suddenly one of the winners, and they went through several pass-throughs before they got 1, and then they worked a little more to get 2 and a little more to get 3. See,
I still don't understand it.
I think they went through like 3 or 4 different run-throughs of the program of the voting before they actually got the mayor of Portland. It didn't just come out right out the beginning.
That's correct. The mayor didn't win first time through.
Right. It was like it had to be run through multiple times. So.
And some people, Moses Ross over on the west side in District 4, he actually had more people that contributed for his
the $5 deal
for the city. He actually had than he got for votes, actually. So more people give him money.
Very interesting.
So he got less votes than he actually got support. I give him $5 and I give him cash, and I had to come back and fill out the form. And anyway, the deal is, but it said at the end, and some of them it talked about the amount of money they spent and number of votes.
Right.
And one guy had spent $450 per vote and didn't win.
That's
incredible. This is a weird deal. On the other hand, in all due respect, and knew the mayor, so to speak. What's his first name?
The mayor?
Wilson.
Keith Wilson?
Keith. Boy, I tell you, I got to get you familiar with that name. I recognize that. But in all due respect, he ran for city council, and he didn't win.
In the last election?
And if the mayor's race had just run just straight up, he would not have won.
No. It was. I'll find the exact amount of times that it ran.
He would never. He wouldn't have even gotten up front. See?
No.
It'll be all the other 3 commissioners. They had that's where it would have stuck. So now he's mayor, and that's going to be interesting. So maybe that might be, and he can't challenge anything of that nature alone.
The only thing he can do is if he sees something on the docket up for that he doesn't like, or that is possibly against state or federal law or the Constitution, is call a press conference and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, you need to grab these counselors by the lapels and pound their head on the pavement and say no on this particular issue." And that's the only thing he can do, because when they vote for it, just like this $4.6 million for more help, he is stuck.
So they had to run it 19 times before Mayor Wilson was the mayor.
I mean, 19 times.
They ran it 19 times before he came out with 63% of the vote.
Well, I wonder who was at the top of the list when they first got the first round. You understand what I'm saying? They had majority vote. They had a ranking, right?
Well, it was 20 people were running, which is an insane amount. And I watched the debate that Steve Dunn ran, and I mean, no offense to you, John, I don't know why they put the stripper in with the five those five on that debate.
Exactly.
I think it was for she was a woman, and it was for comedy. Who in hell knows?
But you're right. For comedy. Why should here we are talking about serious issues.
And the deal is, if you watched her, she did pretty good.
She didn't do too good.
She was way out of her league in that debate.
Oh yeah, big time.
Well, there was a couple of debates that she was better off than some of them.
Yeah, but
so she wasn't the worst.
She really didn't know what the issues were.
But a lot of those career commissioners were pretty bad too. Let's be honest. Rubio,
oh my God,
never should have been running in that debate. What came out in the wash with her and those citations that she had, she didn't have a snowball's chance in hell. And yet she won second.
And she was number 2. See, and then Renee was the same thing. He had actually run the race the first day it came out that he said he was running for mayor, without all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he had the money. He had already done the whole 9 yards. I don't understand how he lost that race because he had the money. He could have paid this contractor. They had a contractor out there that could go out there and get the names and the numbers.
Well, the deal is, when I was running, I was saying the present city commissioners that are running for this new city council, don't vote for them because they screwed it up and there's no veto power for the mayor. You don't want to dump them all. And the only one that survived was Dan Ryan up there in North Portland. And so... but that's, and the thing is that it's good that they're gone because they didn't give the mayor that veto power, and they had 3 chances to do it. The initial one when they wrote it up, and then 2 chances to put it on the ballot, and they all voted no on putting the veto power to the mayor for the primary and the general.
And the mayor voted for that too.
Oh yeah.
No veto.
Yeah, it's kind of like walking out the door. Screw you, I'm gone. You know.
And how did Dan? You said Dan voted for that too, or was he the only one that?
They all voted against the veto power.
All voted.
All of them.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
There's no check there.
Jesus Christ! I mean.
So that's the only thing the mayor can do is when he sees something coming up.
Right.
And
just alert you, but you still can't do nothing. It goes back to city council.
Okay, but what happens a lot of times, and it's happened in other places, some council, they would vote for an issue that's against the Constitution or against the statewide law, and so it gets passed. Then there'll be an organization step in and take them to the state Supreme Court, and they'll look at it. This thing is against the Constitution or it's against this law, and it's out. And in fact, they've had people want me to help in a campaign to get something on, and like a constitutional amendment. 1 item only, and they'd have a laundry list. It says, I am not wasting my sweat and treasure for something that's going to die. And sometimes it would pass, and they're cheering. I says, what are you cheering for? It's going to be to the Supreme Court in about 3 weeks. And then at the end of 3 weeks, here's these people all long faces. We broke our butts to get this in here. I says, I told you it was in violation of the state law.
But supposedly within that system, John, that's supposed to be checked before it's even shared with the public at large.
No,
but I'm just saying. But
it should be. Yeah.
It should be, and someone's checking it. That's to make sure that once it gets there before the for the voters, it's taken care of.
There's times when there's been organizations, they would come before the city council or the county commission or something, says this is against this law or this constitution or something like that. Tell them in advance. And they'd say, the hell with you, we're going to do what we want. So they'd pass it, and this outfit would file with the state Supreme Court in Oregon. About 3 weeks later, it's out.
Wow. Wow.
So it's thankful that some of these organizations exist so that they can get out there and kill some of that stuff, and they do it later. But the thing is, like I said, I've had people that says, "Oh, you ought to get on this thing and get this thing done." I'd read the thing, and if it was constitutional amendment in Oregon, more than one item, dead meat. And then some things that come up that they want to do, I wouldn't vote for anyway, and I'm certainly not going to work for it. And the deal is that, like I tell people, you get the voter's pamphlet out there, and you get your pencil out, and you start reading that thing, and as soon as there's something that's not good for you, your family, or your money or property, you need to mark that out and vote no on it. And then voting no means not that anything changes, just because it's on the ballot. And a lot of smiley people are saying, we want this, no, it's a no go.
But you would think that should have been discussed when they put that piece together, that it's so confusing now. They should have cleared that up.
But you have organizations, when they come in on an issue, they have blinders on, and they don't have tunnel vision, they have tube vision. It's like the Right to Life and a few other organizations.
It would have been interesting to get the minutes of the committee that put this whole piece together. Find out who voted for what. Yeah. What was the rationale?
Well, sometimes the paper does cover it good, but not too often.
No, but I'm thinking about the committee that put the whole piece together.
Oh, yeah.
And then was the newspaper, were the media there while they were going through that process?
Probably not.
They mentioned a few times, but, people weren't going to read this.
That whole stuff.
Just about 3-4 pages over there. They look at the headline and move on. So
now we get down to the bottom line, from the standpoint, who picks up the tab for that?
We do.
Homeowners. Here comes the tax, right?
Yep.
And we just lost a big tax from the business community because they said, well, that issue on the corporations was that paying their fair share, at least some of the fair share. Well, they lost that piece in the election, but the businesses prevail, so there won't be any accessing any extra dollars. Now, where do the dollars come? Where do they have to come from?
Well, one thing in this state, we have a one-party rule. It's pretty far left, so they can do just about anything they want.
That is true.
And they got a deal on it about statewide property tax on top of the county property tax. Almost unstoppable.
Well, but the people who are going to be affected, are they familiar with these issues? That's the problem.
Well, there is a Oregon Property Owners Association that will probably.
Where is it? I've never seen it in the media.
Well, they were Oregonians in Action, and they've changed their title, and I
don't see no headlines.
No, but they'll be coming out.
Yeah, but that's after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little late if they're telling us about the state property tax.
Well, this is just been introduced into the legislature, so it's just starting.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that should never have even been the issue.
That's true.
That should have been discussed on the front end. Yeah. And again, then I'm thinking about the processes, as you said, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Keith. He's there. He's a very energetic kind of a guy. But in all due respect, he's not been there long enough to really deal with the issues. The homeless, all that stuff that's there. That's some heavy stuff. Well, he has the OJT, but he's energetic enough that he wants to get out there and he's getting involved. It's interesting.
One of the things from this most recent $4.6 million boost to the staffing for the city council, you know where that money's coming from, right?
Where is it coming from?
It's coming from so it says right here, Oregonian wrote it, the 10-2 vote passed as an emergency ordinance authorizing the $4.6 million spending package to be drawn from contingency dollars in the city's general fund rather than from the city administrator's office, as had been proposed by Council President Elena Pirtle-Guinea. So they first wanted to take it away from the homeless, campsite removal and graffiti removal programs. Why would they ever propose that as one of Keith Wilson's promises to becoming mayor was to combat the homeless problem? And the city council, one of the first things that they wanted to do, I mean, I'm grateful that it's coming as an emergency and it should be drawn from contingency dollars, but why would they ever propose that it comes from homeless cleanup and graffiti removal? It's almost as if the city council does not want to even begin to help Mayor Wilson in combating the homeless problem and removing, removing is the wrong word, but help these people towards a better life, and also help clean up Portland and hopefully restore it to its former glory.
Yeah.
It's almost like the city council cares more about their own pockets, like we were worried about, than the city of Portland that they're supposed to be representing.
Well, clearly they did not define the definition of the office in terms of what their responsibilities will be, what the issues are. I mean, that whole process should be laid out.
Well, it's priorities, and one of the things is their priority is not public safety. Mm-hmm. You know, because you figure that national defense and public safety is a people thing. You got to have people there, and they're kind of like this. All this work for the homeless is kind of like putting a paint job on a Titanic as she sinks.
Wow.
Because it's, in fact, the deal is in Resolution A, which is 1981, the Multnomah County took over the jails and social services and the bridges, because nobody wanted the bridges. And all of the cities went back to taking care of municipal services. And almost all of the cities, large and small, they expanded. Because it used to be there was a gap between Portland and Gresham. Now the gap is 181st, 182nd.
Right.
See, so they butt up to each other, and there's very little unincorporated Multnomah County. And in fact, and as a city employee, I've seen a lot of the changes happen. So a lot of the sheriff's deputies came over to the city of Portland. The Multnomah County Road Department, those people came over to Portland and Gresham and that, and then the some of the parks came over to the city of Portland, and different ones. The prize ones, like Blue Lake and the Oxbow and a couple others, that went to Metro. And the Multnomah County had neglected the parks pretty bad, so whether they went to Portland or Gresham or some little town, or whether they went to Metro, they gained. But the thing is, it was supposed to be that the Multnomah County took care of social services, which means taking care of the homeless program and maybe getting a backup from the city in a way of zoning and say some property and stuff, but the thing run by one organization. Because what you got now, you got all these people getting in it, so you have all these hierarchies, which means a lot of people sitting in chairs, shining the chairs with their butts. A lot of money going on paper. And the thing is, they, just like the city council, they want more help to do this thing, basically kissing the babies thing.
Well, in this same article just mentioned, they accuse Mayor Wheeler of kneecapping them, because Mayor Wheeler and the council before voted to approve the staffing levels for the current council and the current mayor. So when this was proposed, Mayor Wheeler said, okay, the mayor will get 5 staffers and each council member will get 1 staffer. Well, that seems to me like enough people. They have 12 council members.
Right.
I feel like 12 additional staffers plus 5 to the mayor should be enough to run
Right.
a government for the size of Portland,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
Well, apparently it's not. It's not enough. Now they have enough money, thanks to the council voting 10 to 12 in favor of taking this money to hire 1 additional staffer. So that's 2 per council member and 3 additional people for Mayor Wilson. And each one of them now has $262,000 for other non-personal expenses. So we will need to follow the money on this. Thankfully, councilors Steve Novick and Dan Ryan voted against this. It looks like Novick said, I just feel I can't support this package until I have a better sense of what our internal needs are and a better sense of other budget issues. So they had some sense.
Yeah.
Seeing that, we talked about this earlier, John, but the city of Portland is weighing cuts of between 5 and 8% against all agencies. So instead of, looking at that and saying we really shouldn't increase our budget, we shouldn't take these emergency funds of $4.6 million, we really shouldn't do this. These people have selfishly taken this money, and it's insane. They're already starting next fiscal year, July 1st, at a $27 million deficit.
Well,
and that's the problem. The deal is that using your contingency fund and all that. I mean, the deal is it's like, there's a storm coming and then you go gamble your emergency fund away. That's stupid. But the deal is they're not responsible and they'll still be getting their paycheck. So
no one's holding them accountable.
Yeah.
Correct.
But again, I still ask the question: who initiated it to begin with?
Well, the deal is they've been against.
No, they. When you say they, who specifically are you talking about?
Well,
this new form of government.
This new form of government.
Well, the thing is,
as if they brought it up. They had to bring it up before council, right? They had to vote on it.
They've been against this commission form of government for a long time. And it says, well, somebody gets in there and they're not an expert in this, that, or the other thing. Well, who
brought it up now, though? Who brought it up to date?
Well,
who brought it up?
Well, they got together and then
you talking about the commissioner and the mayor, right?
They are, but it had to be the city council.
Right, and the mayor.
Yeah. And the thing is, they figured that they're going to win, and they were going to get a big pay raise, and what they got is the big broom out the damn door, except for Dan Ryan. Because they're making more on this new phony thing than they were when they actually had bureaus to run under the old system.
Well, Dan makes a pretty nice deal because he picks up $150,000, and he got 2 other people that work the district.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm looking right now.
He's going to be the OJT guy, right? On the job training.
Yeah.
He's going to be the DI.
Yeah. But, under the old system, you get to be the commissioner in charge of some bureau. Yeah. You've got professionals in there that they wanted to work well.
But still, you got access to someone who knows how to do the job.
That's right.
See?
And the deal is, I was
they
at
relate to that.
Parks for 32 years, 8 months.
Right.
And we had really good park commissioners and some not so good, and we had really good mayors and some not so good.
But still, you had folks who knew the job.
And things went on because.
And when a person wants to come in, John, look, you're the plumbing guy, and look, I got four about 20 miles worth of pipe I want to get laid. Get it done, will you, John? And you'll say, oh, can you do that under so and so and so and so? Put it in writing, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now that's not the case.
No.
And it's really sad, but the idea is to try to keep it as simple as possible to get the folks that are sitting here looking at this show. The only way they're going to do something about this, the only way they can do that is start saying, okay, fine, okay, let's say we got an OJT, on-the-job training type thing, routine, okay? Well, the first thing, I want to know who my commissioners are in my district. I want to know.
Your council members.
I want to know my council members. Okay. Now, how do we do that?
Well, it would be really great if they
up.
actually. You've mentioned, let's not have them go to this downtown Portland and rule from downtown Portland.
Right.
Where are John? You probably know better.
He's the parks. He knows.
Where are they
Parks.
Where are they coming from? Where are they representing the people in their district? Are they representing the people in their district?
Well, they should be. And the thing is, and I campaign. It says the thing is, they should be having offices out in the community centers, because they're all over Portland, and they wouldn't be any new space.
Is that a park? Oh, no, we say community center. Is that a park?
Yeah, at a park. Most parks have a community
That's
center,
what I'm saying.
and they could be there.
Yeah, right.
And the fact that and the people they could have meetings at the different districts, so people could come there rather than have to go downtown, because they spend a lot of money redesigning and rebuilding.
Okay, we talked
downtown.
about that. We talked about that. And okay, it should be within the district, and you don't want to have just three people just sitting around just holding hands with one another. I mean, they need to break up that district.
It should be in thirds, right?
In thirds.
They should have had 12 districts, but they should have had 12 districts, so you know who your pigeon is.
No, you don't have 12 districts, John. You got 4 districts, John.
I know you got.
Well, but
I see what you're talking about.
What you're also saying is basically there needs to be 12 districts.
Yeah.
Because you're splitting it into a third, which turns it into 12 districts instead of 4 districts.
See, a lot of folks might be thinking about, separate districts, and we need another 150,000 per each, or maybe more than that.
Well, they're all already getting 150,000, so
okay.
it's...
All right, okay. So we got that piece now. That needs to happen.
So, but as far as you know, John, they are not working out of those community centers.
No, they have a downtown office. So if you're going to go to their meetings, you got to go downtown. And going downtown is not a pleasant event.
That's ludicrous.
Yeah. And so I was saying...
Why do you think that happened that way?
Because
they want to rule from an ivory tower.
Well, in all due respect, the reason why it happened, Wheeler was the one that put the piece together. That's who approved it at the time. Because in all due respect, most of our efforts and the issues are downtown Portland.
Yeah, but the thing is...
That has priority. And so the whole idea, you get the whole group down there to have them relate to downtown issues. Hey, I don't have any problem with that. As far as the business community, we definitely knew the living room, if you will, within the city aspect of it.
Well, but the city of Portland suffered significantly under Mayor Ted Wheeler's leadership.
Yeah. Well, the OJT, he was just getting to the point. He was probably in the 3rd week of boot camp. That's kind of like that's the way I look at it. But the fact of the matter is, that was Ted's responsibility in the city council.
Yeah, but
because they still had to vote on it. They still had to vote.
But I had actually
he wasn't by himself.
Yeah, but I actually promoted that they'd have the city council meetings out in the districts, and they would change it around, because it'd be easier for people, say in North Portland, to go to Southwest or to Northeast or something like that, because you have out in the parks, and there's lots of parking around there. That'd be a lot easier than going downtown.
Yeah, but John, check this out, John. The people in the respective districts want them to talk about their issues. Okay, you got me? So the whole idea is that you don't want to mix water and oil at the same time. The key is that the city council, right? They should meet the downtown when they all get together if they want to. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is that the people in those respective districts want to say, these are my issues. Let's have the discussions here for my issues, not these other 3 entities. I want to talk about my issues, not the whole city council. And then the chair, they got a chair, right? They got a chair for each of those 3 representatives, right? Mm-hmm. And then that chairperson goes downtown and then shares it with the rest of the folks. And then vote.
And the president of the council, there was quite a cat fight to see who was going to be it.
Well, where is it now? Do those people have backgrounds? Are they familiar with the issue? Did you look at the voters panel?
I have no idea. There was 3 women running for the president of the council, and
it's Elena Purtle-Guinea.
Who is she? What district?
I'll find that out right now. I'll look right now.
These are not familiar names.
No, they come from nowhere. See.
Well, back east, we'll just find out where they are. It's easy to find out. Google their name and find out what's their background.
She was a small business owner. Hold on, let me.
Now she chairs what? A district, or chairs the whole?
District 2.
Yeah.
District number 2.
District number 2.
She's from District number 2, but she's the president of the whole council.
Of the whole council. She is now the president of the whole council.
What's her background?
I don't know.
So it says on
Did she run for office
it says
before?
Elena for Portland. She was an advocate, a mom, an organizer, a small business owner, and our neighbor. So about her,
Did she ever run for office before?
I'm looking at her.
Maybe we'll have
give me a second really quick. Let me find that out for you, okay?
Okay, John and I'll be talking a little bit more while we're at this point. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Well, a lot of these people say, I'm a small business owner. You go check them out. They're running a Tupperware or something.
gee whiz, I mean, this is... Now, she's the president of all the... What happened to the mayor?
He's not a part of it.
The only time he goes in to vote for something is if there's a tie.
Yeah, but he's still part of the process. Should be.
He's not.
How can he talk about a tie and voting on something if he's not familiar with the issues?
Well, he's probably. But the only time he's
He's
called.
got to be given access to
The only time he's called to answer is when there's a tie.
Otherwise, he can't.
He is out of the picture.
So then he's got to spend time now on from his issues that he's trying to resolve the issue of homelessness. He has to now spend time trying to understand what they're tired about, right? Which is true. That takes time.
Yeah.
That takes
Basically,
time.
what you're saying, Mr. Mayor, you're screwed.
Yeah, but screw. But knowing him as I know him, he's a very energetic guy. He's going to try to learn as much as he can about the issue before he votes. He's just not just.
So she was on Kate Brown's executive team.
Oh, that's bad.
She was, so says she's an organizer for labor unions, advocate for working people, policy expert helping our state's workforce programs prepare Oregonians for living wage jobs, built coalitions to develop energy efficient code
Has she ever
policies.
been elected to office?
It doesn't look like it. She led the grassroots coalition that helped pass Measure 114.
Which was?
The gun violence prevention ballot measure that has been struck down in Harney County. So it didn't really go anywhere.
So she wasn't a prior elected official.
She's not a prior elected official, and she's kind of been a part of a couple of things that, I mean, Kate Brown wasn't the greatest governor that we've had. Measure 114 is
yeah, but I'm looking at all the 4 districts, and I think I know in several of the districts you had Dan Ryan from 2, who was a former commissioner.
Yeah.
And you had Loretta Smith.
She's originally from Santa Cruz. She's not even an Oregonian.
Jesus Christ. Well,
she's been here for 15 years, is what this page says.
Okay, yeah,
but she's from Santa Cruz. She's not from Portland.
But she wasn't familiar with I'm saying with part of that process, and I'm just saying there were 3 people that were there in different districts. Like I said, Dan Ryan was 2. What was Loretta Smith? She's in 3, isn't she?
Loretta Smith is in District 2.
No, she's not in District 2. I can tell you that one's right.
I'll pull all of them up.
She's
really
not District
quick.
2.
City Council.
She's up near the Gresham area. I think it's 3 or 4. 1, and then 1 is where? Where's 1? Is that Southwest?
1 is far east of 205.
East of 205.
Yeah, and then 2 is along the Columbia River.
Right, I know 2. Well, what about the city of Portland? Is that 4?
I'm
and
pulling
4
all
is
of
the
them
west
up
side
right now.
and the rich part of southeast.
But what about the city? What about downtown Portland?
So
That's District 4.
That's District 4.
District 2 is Samir Kanal, Dan Ryan, Elena Pertolgini.
Right.
I gotta go back and.
I think Loretta Smith is in 3.
There's so many of them.
Right. Well, hey,
Loretta Smith is District 1.
She's District number 1?
Candace Avalos and Jamie Dunphy are in District 1 as well. I already just looked at him. Olivia Clark is in District 4, along with Mitch Green and Eric Zimmerman. And Steve Novick is in District 3.
See, that's another guy.
With Tiffany Koyoma
He's got
Lane.
background. He was elected. He was city council.
And Angelita Murillo.
Yeah.
He was a former city council. At least you have people that have background in that process.
He was only in for one term, I believe.
but still, he has background.
Yeah.
He, Loretta Smith, and Dan. And why weren't they selected?
Well, I think Loretta Smith wanted more help so she could beat up on him like she did when she was a county commissioner. Don't you remember how she was terrible with her?
Well, I ain't gonna say that. But she was a part of the process. She got elected. You know, I've had my issues. You know what I mean. But the fact of the matter is, she was part of the process.
Yeah.
Got me. Now the name of the game is that. Wow. Well, am I gonna? Well, Bob didn't show up today because he had a mission to get Earl Blumenauer to come on, but we didn't get Earl. That's another issue. So maybe we're gonna have to go out there and knock on the door down at Portland State when he's sitting at his desk.
If he ever shows up.
Yep, it's really sad. And he's getting government money.
Yeah.
People's money, voters' money. And this young lady here, I'd like for her to come on the show, give a perspective in terms of what was the rationale for doing that as the president. What's the definition of the president? And how is she going to communicate with the rest of the districts?
Well, I mean, she's the one that believes that Mayor Wheeler and the former city council did not set up this city council up for success. Elena Pertl-Guiney.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay, good. That's where she's at?
She's the one that says they didn't set us up for success.
So then what is her definition of how she's going to...
More money. That's what she's saying. And they didn't give us enough money, so they're taking from emergency funds. That's what she means.
So now they're going to have 2 staffers as opposed to 1 staffer.
2 staffers plus $262,000 for non-personal use.
And where's that money coming from?
It's emergency funds, I think, is what.
Where's the money coming from?
They're pulling it from the budget.
And who pays the budget?
Well, they're going into a deficit.
And who's going to serve?
Well, it sounds like
the voting public. That's what
it sounds like right here. It sounds like the police, fire, transportation, parks, probably the schools. They're all going to suffer because the city council needs more money. And
they can approve it just by basically just voting on it.
The 10 of them just did. The 10 of them just did.
Yeah, 7 out of 12.
7 out of 12.
No. For an emergency like this, it has to be 9 out of 12.
So the 7 out of 12. So the other 5, who are they?
Well, on this deal, it was
10 people out. It was 10 to 2 on this
10
deal.
10 to 2. Who are the 2 ones that opposed?
It was Steve Novick and Dan Ryan, who both
said no way.
Voted against this. Voted for
Wow. Well, maybe we might be able to get Steve Novak to come on.
Steve Novick would be great. He's the one that I said earlier. He said, I just feel I can't support this package until I have a better sense of what our internal needs are and a better sense of the other budget issues. So He's actually thinking logically, responsibly, not wasting taxpayer money that they don't have.
Well, the thing is, let's see. Now there was another term that just came up in my mind. Said, what about defunding the police, the fire department? I mean, they use that word defunding pretty in. When Joanne Bowen was there, she basically said, "Let's."
Well, they did a pretty good job, And the fact is that it's dangerous to go out on the street.
In my personal lives, I think I've heard that we're 100 officers shy of a full complement in the PPB right now.
And the new ones are just getting out of boot camp.
Yeah, but that's short of authorized, and the number of authorized has come down. And the deal is when they had Resolution A, Portland was a 10-mile by 10-mile square basically, and they had 800 officers, and it should have been 1,000. and then Resolution A, it became a 10 mile by 15 mile rectangle.
Okay.
And about 50% more population, and they didn't get more cops, and they kind of shrunk the police department along the way. Then the fact that they're short of officers on top of what they're authorized. So the fact that they just say you're short this much of the authorized, and the authorized should be more, because when Portland was the 10 mile by 10 mile square, they should have had 1,000 officers then, and now it means they should have had 1,500, but they don't.
Well, we're defunding the police again.
Well, but remember, Kamala Harris was on the defund the police train.
No, I'm talking about Oregon.
Right. No, but let me finish.
Okay.
She was on the defund the police
Okay.
train, and then when questioned about it recently, she said, "I was never on that train."
Yeah. Well, that's a whole 2 hours, so we'll do that one on the because I was wanting to comment about that situation about how she was not recognized by Biden to do the end deal. You know what I'm saying? You got me?
Oh, he mentioned her in the farewell address.
Yeah, but I just mentioned. I'm just saying when he was taking shots at these other spots, she wasn't there as vice president. When they put the deal together with this whole issue with Hamas, there was no mention about the fact that she signed off on this too as vice president. None.
Yeah.
None. Not a word was said. That's a fact. So that's enough. But we can talk about that issue on another issue aspect of it. Okay, folks. Well, you're getting the idea. Do the same thing. I mean, all due respect, this is not about people not liking you and this, that, and the other. This is about your pocketbook. This is about your pocketbook. And the only way we can basically respond. They've already basically they're gonna take the money. They're taking the money that's already there by going through other departments and picking up the money. They're not coming up here and asking you for a tax because this state is that way. They will. You talking about taxing.
Not just the state, the city.
I mean the city for that matter. See, the bottom line is that now, guess what? We're gonna have to just basically do whatever we can. That's what we're doing right here. We basically gonna be talking about what are their jobs. We're going to be talking about, like John was saying, like we were talking about here with reference to they should be located in their respective district, talking about their respective district areas, and the chair of that particular district, of each of those chairs, should then basically communicate with now the so-called president, and that should be taken to the so-called the group, and if they want to meet downtown, they can do that with the group, but as far as 90% of the time should be in their respective district, talking about issues.
Yeah.
And solving them. Bottom line. That's it. What do you think, guys?
Good day.
And what about you, the voter? Please get involved. Get involved. You got to get involved if, in fact, we're going to be successful, because we got some tough times coming ahead of us. So, bottom line, we've got 12 people. 12 people. If we put them out right and get them out of boot camp, we'll have something. Sounds good. Take care. Have a good weekend. Take care.